It's been a year since I last put out a video for you all, but I have still been diligently working on this Airstream. I thought back in August that I was almost ready to go, but it's been another 6 months and I'm still finishing this thing up. So here's a quick recap of where we've been with this project. I bought this 1975 Airstream as what I thought was going to be a quick, easy fix to update some of the interior things, only to find myself with my feet literally dangling out of what had been the bathroom. I slowly began to figure things out, like how to take the shell off, how to fix the trailer frame, updating the axles, cutting a new subfloor, and then I found myself staring at the gap between my new trailer frame and the old trailer. And after many attempts at putting the trailer back together, it finally worked, and I spent a lot of time with the help of my dad to rivet the whole thing back together. Finally feeling like I was moving forward, I painted the roof and added a new AC and fans, fixed the front windows, and the last video I posted, I had just finished polishing the Airstream and was putting on a new protective clear coat. I am so excited. I get to start putting it back together and building instead of relentlessly tearing it apart. I decided on a closed cell spray foam, and since I went with this, I can't really record because of the space. So this is a before and after. The next part with the spray foam insulation is to cut it back so that the walls will sit flush. So being not a professional, I don't have fancy tools, so I sat here and I cut it back by hand. This took forever. Forever and ever and ever. Once I was finally mostly done and I got it cleaned up, the next part for me was to go find the interior walls again and start prepping them to put back in.
I feel like I've been here before, familiar with the view. This ain't nothing new. And every time that you walk through the door, I'm hit by the same old tide, blinded by the lights, and I'm going through changes, but it's easier with you. I'm going through changes, and so are you. And I find the moments when you're around me. I know you've got secrets, but I can't keep on. And we're fading in and out together.
This looks like a huge struggle. Let me tell you, it was. This is plastic and extremely wobbly, and more importantly, it was already cracking around the edges in some part. I had planned to fix it, but I didn't want it to break more. So please enjoy watching me struggle like no one's business, trying to make sure I didn't ruin it. This one, by the way, was so much heavier and just as awkward, trying again not to crack it further and ruin it. Should I have taken one and come back? Yeah. Did I? No. You may be asking, what am I doing with these? Why not just do something else since these are broken? Good question. For the most part though, I love how the original 70s Airstreams looked. I didn't want to fully keep the floor plan, but I do want to keep as much as possible. So I dove deep into what these are made of, and if you're looking for the answer, it's ABS plastic. Which, if you dive deeper into making repairs of ABS plastic, it can be pretty simple. You make a slushy of ABC and acetone. I broke up some pieces of ABC plastic that I bought online and soaked it overnight in the acetone, looking for a pancake consistency. Then for the cracks, I drilled holes at the ends to prevent them from spreading if they did re-crack, and then I deepened/widened them and painted the ABS acetone mixture right over the top. For holes, I cut a slightly smaller piece of the ABS plastic of the same thickness as the original and layered on multiple layers of the acetone. Let it dry, sand it down, and repeat until you're happy with the end result. And to my surprise, it turned out pretty good. But first, I need to get this cubby out to give it some much needed love too. The interior skins of the Airstream had been painted at one point, and it did not age well. And on top of that, it was out in an open barn for a few years, and it had grown a bit of mold. If it hadn't been painted, I do think I could have cleaned them up and put them in as they were originally. I did like how that looked, but because of the paint, there was a yellowing on the original where the paint was, so it will have to be painted again, unfortunately. And lucky for me this time, I did have some family around to help me goop these all up and get them clean again. Once those were dried, I started taking them apart so that I could put the whole thing back together again and be ready to put the end caps back in. And this is me a little bit mad at myself for having taken over a week to do this and forgetting how these things went together. And finally, it was time to start putting in the walls. But I think I might save that for another video. Subscribe if you want to follow along. Otherwise, thanks for stopping by.
I got my feet on a cloud and I